That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I decided to make a video on this. I didn't necessarily get a video request on Patreon, but I have gotten a million questions on Patreon about this topic. So I thought it was about time that I've covered it. I wanted to do it about a week ago, but as y'all know, I got sick, so I was not able to make any videos around that time. But nothing really has changed since then. We still know that the Big Ten has supposedly postponed their season until the spring, and we still know that players are declaring that they are not going to be playing in the college football season this year, and this is going on every single day, and I don't think that we are going to see anything change otherwise for the next coming month. And to be completely honest, I mean, I go to UT, I go to the University of Texas, I'm a senior. There's nothing more than I would like to see us play football, for me to be able to go to football games this season, but I don't think it is going to happen. Because right now we're pretty much looking at the major conferences saying the Big 12 and the SEC are going to play. I mean, they're not even saying that they're going to play out of conference games. I think that UT actually said that they're still planning on playing LSU. At least they said that a couple weeks ago. I don't necessarily know what the plan is now because, as I said earlier, things are changing constantly. One thing is staying consistent though. Games are getting canceled. Players are opting out. And what we have to try to decide is how are we going to evaluate these 2021 draft picks and these 2022 draft picks in Dynasty Fantasy Football. I'm going to talk about the 2021 picks first, and then I will get into the 2022 picks because I think that may be a reason we can pivot to those and be profitable in the long run. But nonetheless, let's talk about what we are doing. And I've heard multiple people say, should I not be valuing these 2021 draft picks as I have been over previous seasons? Because we are not going to get the same data points that we are going to see on these players than we would in years past. And I will say that I don't think that's a good reason to devalue these picks. I think there are other reasons to devalue them, but what we have to be understanding it with is these picks are going to hold the same value for everyone else, because I know everyone loves to determine, oh, I have the best eyes. I can watch these players on the football field and I can determine who's going to be successful at the NFL level, and I am better than you at it, so give me these draft picks. In reality, it's a lot more random than we want to believe. You can have a small edge on your dynasty opponents if you really, really are tuned in and can understand what's going on at the NFL level, but we don't necessarily get that edge, at least in my opinion, from watching the game and watching tape. We get that edge based on situations and based on what NFL franchises are telling us with their actions and how we can perceive these players fitting into the roles on their given offenses in terms of scoring fantasy points. And none of that changes with a shortened season in 2020 with these 2021 draft picks. The only thing that may change is we may have some players decide to not go to the 2021 NFL draft and push back and go to the 2022 NFL draft. And this is what concerns me. And I don't think that we are going to see these players in the top tier. I don't think we're going to see Travis Etienne determine that, hey, I'm going to redshirt this season and go and play another year. I mean, if you are one of those top guys, Travis Etienne's may be a bad example just because he's a senior, but even the top juniors like a Rondale Moore or Rashad Bateman, they're just going to come out in the NFL draft and they are going to be about the same draft stock as they would have been before. Because another thing we have to understand, which I kind of think it's funny that people are talking about, that none of these players are going to go out into the NFL draft, because why would they? They're not going to have a year of production. The teams aren't going to be able to evaluate them, and their draft stock is going to plummet. Well, everyone's in the same boat. Just because I didn't get to play a season, that doesn't mean the next guy's not going to get to play a season. So why do I expect my draft stock to go from being an early first round NFL draft pick to being an early second round NFL draft pick? That's not how it's going to work. I don't expect a lot of these top tier talents to go out there and opt out for the 2021 NFL draft. But what I can expect is I think that we are going to have a lot more volatility in terms of these draft picks, both from an NFL level and from a dynasty level. So this is where it gets interesting, and I don't necessarily have the perfect answer for it. Because on one hand, I want to say that it will be a good strategy going out there and loading up on late round rookie picks such as third and fourth rounders, just because maybe that small shot that someone slips through the cracks is enhanced based on the lack of information that these NFL teams have and based on the lack of information that we may have as dynasty players. And if that's the case, maybe you can actually go out there and find another Tyreek Hill in the 4th round of your dynasty rookie draft. But what I am concerned about is these players that would be going in that range. These are the players that will be holding out to go into the 2022 NFL draft and getting another season of college football under their belt. Because the top players, they're just going to declare. There's no reason for them not to. Maybe their college football coaches can whisper in their ear and try to lie to them and get them to come back and play another season. I mean, but if I am a top college athlete, why the hell am I ever going to go back to school for another year? I think that all you can do is you can determine, okay, I mean, the college football season is most likely not going to happen, which at this point, I believe that's the case. I mean, I find it hard to believe that the Big 12 and SEC are pretty much going to be the only major conferences going out there to play. So I think that a lot of these players are just going to look to prepare for the NFL draft. And I think that we should not necessarily be panic selling these 2021 rookie picks, because in the later rounds, we are going to have more volatility where maybe you can find that diamond in the rough, but there's going to be less of those diamonds in my opinion. And in the early rounds, we're still going to have the same players that we saw before. Maybe there is a little bit more volatility just because we don't have the data points, but we're all playing on the same playing field. There's no reason to go out there and to try to avoid that. And if someone is selling their 2021 rookie 1st round pick, especially in a Superflex league when we know we have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields coming out, I'm going to be buying it because I expect that 1st round pick to be a very similar player than we would have with a college football season or without a college football season. Now, what gets interesting is the 2022 class. And like I said earlier, I think some of these players that may need a bump in draft grades, maybe they go out there and their agent tells them, hey, you're probably going to be a 4th or 5th round pick if you declare in the 2021 draft. I would probably advise you staying an extra year. Those are the players that are actually going to be added to the player pool, and maybe those are the players that if we get them, I think we're going to see a very similar thing that we saw in 2020. Now, if you can just think about rookie classes in general, once you get to that 3rd, 4th round, generally you're just taking long shot bets on day 3 players. But if you remember in this rookie draft year, 2020, I mean, you're in the 3rd round, you're taking 2nd round NFL draft guys like KJ Hamler, Chase Claypool. I mean, you're taking guys that were 3rd round rookie running backs in the NFL draft like Lynn Bowden in the 4th round. I mean, we were incredibly deep this season, and I think that we can see a very similar thing in the 2022 NFL draft season. So if you are a rebuilder, if you are looking to go out there and try to play for the long haul, I may go and trade up for those 2022 3rd and 4th round rookie picks, just because I don't expect those 1st round picks to be worth any more, but maybe the class is a little deeper where we see the 2021 draft picks. I think the 1st round is going to stay the same, and I think that later on we are going to see a shallower player pool. And yes, I mean, you have a decent shot. I'm not going to say a decent shot. Maybe you have a better shot at randomly hitting on a Tyreek Hill that the NFL passed up just because the NFL didn't have all the data points. But at the same time, I think there may be less of those players in this year's draft just due to them going to 2022. So I think the time to trade for these picks is not right now. It happens like clockwork every season. Week 2, week 3 is the time to go out there and trade for 2022 2nd, 3rd round picks, 2021 1st round picks. Because if you wait until week 4, week 5, there are already going to be some teams in your league that realize, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to win in 2020. A bunch of players got COVID, and I'm going to have to rebuild, and I'm going to start trading for rookie picks. But this happens every year, and this is a way that you can get an advantage on your Dynasty League mates. The time to trade for rookie picks is week 2, week 3 of the NFL season. And if you can go out there and you can capitalize by trading for a 2021 1st round rookie pick, especially if it's considered at a discount if we don't have college football, which I perceive it will be, in loading up on late 2022 3rd round picks, just get them tossed in on a deal. Don't go out there targeting them. Just go out there and try to say, hey, can I get your 2021 1st? And can you add in your 2022 3rd and 4th? And I mean, I think that is a way that you can maximize value on your Dynasty fantasy football team, and is going to be you're going to be able to do it at a cheap price. I mean, that's the entire point of this video. I'm constantly hearing people extremely down on the 2021 rookie draft class just because they are concerned with college football and they don't necessarily know what it's going to look like. But that's all I got for y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. Really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if you did, make sure you drop a like and make sure you subscribe.